the year of 2025 is going to be pretty wild. We do have a podcast episode on divine ethereal beings up about 2025 when we released it, but I do feel as though I want to touch a bit on it a little bit more here today and allow all of you to understand that what is coming is happening in the physical world this time. So it's been a workup, and what many are calling the Great Awakening in a larger basis actually started back in 2020. And as we all know, there was lots of events that happened at that point in time, a lot of global events that, really shook us all up in a different way. And really in an aspect, it also changed the energy, and it allowed for this expansion in consciousness actually to start happening in so many more humans. And so it's been a fascinating ride in the last few years. And I am so sorry if you've been one of those ones where you're like, feel like you're on the front of the roller coaster, catching bugs in your teeth and can't breathe because the wind is shoving in your face so hard and life is just smacking you up every side and your hair is a wind-blowing tornado and you just don't even know. You can't see past the tears streaming out of your face and you're just really feeling like you're along for the ride. I guarantee you are not the only one listening to that, feeling as though that might have been the last couple of years for you even. And maybe even, starting in January of this year, it really started off with a bang, even in the energetics. And we thought, last year was pretty crazy with all the energy upgrades and all the things that were happening. But the thing about 2025 is where it's really starting to integrate into the physical world. And so you're starting to see the material world changing. You're starting to see this difference of energy that's been in the works last few years, building up, creating these, different visions. So many are starting to understand and have that the world is truly changing, and now it is actually being put in play. So it is getting interesting in the physical part of this because a lot of that energy is actually coming and actually integrating. So we're right now, while we're recording this, is the month of March, and we are 3 months in, officially 3 months into the first year, damn near anyway. And it is becoming more and more important, I feel, for people to really claim their power. And that is going to continue to be really important for 2025. And if you're able to really step up to the plate, really look at yourself, really accept each side, every aspect of you, every part of you, then you are going to start to recognize that, oh, hey, actually, this gets to be a bit of a gentler ride where the roller coaster isn't throwing bugs in my teeth anymore. I'm actually able to, I found a pair of goggles by my feet. I'm able to put my goggles on. Hey, look, there's a hair tie or a hat. Now I feel as though, I can at least control my hair again. And now I'm starting to get more clarity. Hey, it's still a pretty fast ride, but at least now I feel like I kind of, might be enjoying this a little bit more rather than just completely along for the ride. So that's a bit of 2025, and March has been this month that's been like the last bit of reflection before the wave really comes to really start the momentum and to really push and to really start bringing in this new world in a very physical way. Now, what may happen either for yourself or with others around you, you may notice that some people that are still in high resistance to the change or not wanting to change in themselves, or, really stuck maybe in a victim mindset or really unable to allow themselves to change and accept that, you may start to see here where they'll see a very different world than what you may be seeing. And what I mean by that is they're always going to seem to have this perspective of, the dark, bumpy, and ugly, rather than, oh, hey, you know what? Change is actually, it's very uncomfortable, but change means we get to build something new if that's where we're all really wanting to go, which, as I feel right now through the energetics of the collective, that is where we still are. But it's this motion as well of understanding that change is here for the greater good, rather than just getting completely wrapped up in the tunnel and not being able to see past and to see that light kind of at the end of all this bumpiness and as change is kind of in the midst. So if you feel as though you have people around you that are more in that kind of lane, and I say people around you because I almost guarantee if you're sitting here listening to it, you are not one of those people that is looking at the deep, dark depths, and that's where you're choosing to sit, because you definitely wouldn't be listening to something like this if that was going to be the actual case. So I say that because we all are going to have people around us, whether it be friends, family, the people we have to be around, whether that be coworkers, whether that be, anything else like that. And to know and understand that if you see someone else sitting in that lane or choosing to be there, and just know there's no point in trying to convince anybody else that this is the better way of seeing it or this is the better perspective, because we all know, of course, someone might feel a lot better if they had a perspective that had more hope in it. But you can set seeds down, meaning you can drop little things here and there when you feel as though it might be helpful. But here's the thing, no matter what you do and you set the seeds, what happens to those seeds is absolutely none of your business, to be honest, because it is not your place, it's not your journey, and that still has to be someone else that chooses to water those seeds to really see that perspective, right? So keep in mind as well that, at times you may very well just want to stay silent or remove yourself from certain situations or people, or put a little distance just so you're protecting a little bit more of your own peace, because 2025 is going to be quite a crazy roller coaster in the physicality of things. And so as things kind of move and they start building and more information is going to come out and more things are going to happen that some people are going to have a really hard time with. And so that's what I mean by you may feel the need to distance or feel the need not to speak of certain things that maybe you did even in the past that were, good conversation, but now all of a sudden it doesn't seem to be such an easy conversation or in flow kind of conversation. And so it might feel a little bit isolating at times. Certain people might feel quite like, wow, my world's really changing with people that I have been in association with. And that's okay. It's not to say it's forever, but sometimes we do have to kind of claim our own distance to put ourselves and keep ourselves more balanced and at peace rather than struggling to stay there. And I say that because this year is going to be one of those things that, again, 2025 is going to be about the physical. So it might be harder to protect our space and our own energy when, we've got the dimensions changing with the veils changing and the energy literally on Earth changing. And so all of it is connected, right? And so as these changes take place, our physical bodies are trying to keep up, our own techniques and what may have worked in the past might not be working the same for ourselves. And so there might be some different things that have to be tried out or you come across and decide to try, because it is going to be a time where the physical is more in a space where it can easily teeter-totter, maybe is the best analogy that I can use for it. That one day could, everybody could be on an absolute high, and the next day everybody might be looking at the deep dark ditch that is upon them. So it's one of those things too that certain tools, certain days might work better than others, and this is going to become more of the norm for the next little bit as we totally integrate here into the physical. So I am talking within the next 3 to 4 months of more of this happening. I'm not going through the whole year right now just because there is going to be a big shift that is going to come by the time summer shows up. So there will be some interesting things that will happen but even up to that point. So I just wanted to put this out there. Hopefully this helps you a little bit to understand kind of that larger aspect again, that what is kind of coming. And I swear I have not talked quite like this about 1 year if ever, honestly, because usually the year kind of gets going and I don't feel like there's a lot changing within it, but this year is completely different. There's going to be a lot that's going to happen this year, and that can change also just depending on where the collective is at. So that's your little update for what might be to come in the next 3 to 4 months. And yeah, just hang on to your roller coaster seat, my friend. We will get through this, I promise.